Hello, everyone, and welcome to Me Archon Queen, Voices of Resolution, a podcast series dedicated to exploring the role of communication, understanding, and alternative dispute resolution in building stronger relationships and a more harmonious society. This initiative is brought to you by Institute for Alternative Dispute Resolution, an organization committed to promoting awareness, education, and meaningful engagement in the field of dispute resolution. Through discussions with legal professionals, mediators, policymakers, we aim to highlight the growing importance of dialogue in resolving conflicts. I am Vishnupriya Porwal, a law student at Dharmashastra National Law University and an active member of INADR. It is my pleasure to host today's conversation. Today, we are delighted to welcome Advocate Meena Duggal ma'am. Advocate Meenal Duggal ma'am is an experienced legal practitioner and the founder of Meenal Duggal Law Offices. Her practice spans a wide range of areas including civil, commercial, property, family, consumer, criminal, and intellectual property law. Over the years, she has represented clients in diverse disputes and has developed valuable insights into realities of conflict resolution, litigation, and the evolving role of mediation in India's justice system. Her work reflects a strong commitment to both legal excellence and meaningful dispute resolution, making her an ideal guest for today's discussion. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. It is a privilege to have you with us.
You're welcome.
So, ma'am, let's
Even
begin
I'm
with the...
very happy joining you people.
Yes, ma'am. So, let's begin with the questions.
Please.
Ma'am, as someone who regularly handles disputes in court, what is the most common misconception people have about conflict and its resolution?
The most common misconception about uh, in a courtroom is that one must be a winner in the litigation. Actually, litigation is not about a winner or a loser. Litigation is all about finding an effective solution which brings both the parties into a win-win situations. If you see today's litigations, they majorly arise out of ego battles, emotional conflicts, emotional breakdowns, whether it's matrimonial, whether it's property, what is essential? It's not that if one of the party wins. What is more important that there comes an effective solution and an early solution to your litigation. Litigation has its own space. Litigation has its own charm. But what is more charming is that your perseverance, your determination, your cooperation, your mutual understanding brings you to an amicable solution which brings both the parties into a win-win situation, and that's the real agenda which should be in a litigation.
Yes, ma'am, you are totally correct with that. How people misconcept that winning is the only sole purpose of the
True.
view. Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, many people see communication as a soft skill. Do you believe it is actually one of the most powerful legal skills a lawyer can possess?
I disagree that communication is a soft skill. Communication is the most important skill in a for a lawyer. It's a core legal competency a lawyer should possess. Whether you are addressing a court, whether you are giving arguments, whether you are communicating with your client, whether you are communicating with the opposite side, whether you are acting as a mediator or an arbitrator, your communication matters the most, because if you are doing an effective communication, it is then only you can bring solutions to the table. Even while I'm doing a court hearing, I'm not mediating or I'm not into an arbitration. What I communicate to the court ultimately brings a decision for my client. So essentially, it is your communication skills only which get something for your client in an effective manner. So communication is the most important skill that a lawyer should possess.
Yes, ma'am. As you rightly said, it is the most important and crucial skill everyone
It's
and
absolutely indispensable. It's
yes,
absolutely indispensable for a lawyer.
yes, ma'am.
Effective communication is the key to your success as a lawyer also.
Yes, ma'am, exactly. Especially when we see today a lots of miscommunications and communication gap happening between the parties, which create a lot of disputes. So in that case, definitely communication is a very crucial, plays a role.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, at what stage of a dispute do you think parties are usually most open to settlement? And why do they often miss that opportunity?
Parties are most receptive and open to settlements at initial stages of litigation. However, there are times when the parties are willing to settle at the initial stage of litigation. The lawyers even do not let them settle that easily. Their and the parties, their egos come in middle of it. What happens is when slowly and gradually the litigation progresses, the emotions of all parties intensify into the litigation. Then they start, then they don't feel the heat of the litigation. Then they come to that phase of litigation where they want to bring it on one side, onto one winning end, and they want to win by hook or by crook. They just want to go ahead with the litigation. It is, I feel it is a council's responsibility that if some sort of a settlement is possible at an initial stage. Let's take an example of a matrimonial dispute. My client comes to me that, madam, I am running in a matrimonial dispute with my wife, and we have children also out of our wedlock. Apparently, let's take an example where a wife has cheated upon the husband or a husband has cheated upon the wife. I can explain them. As a lawyer, it is my responsibility. I can sit down with my client, tell him that it's a matrimonial dispute arising between you and your wife, involving a child also. So why don't you choose to sit down with her, see that if separation is the only thing you both want to go ahead with, then seek a mutual and an amicable divorce. I can try and mediate in initial phases. Initially, when the litigation has not begun and my client's emotions are not that intensified at that moment, it is very easy for me to convince my client and go ahead with the settlement process. However, once the litigation begin, you put allegations on one party, the other party would always react in a very volatile manner. Now, the moment her reaction walks in, my client's emotions gets more intensified, and the moment they go intensified, my client would not be willing to settle it then. However, initially I can do that. So, initial stages of the litigation are the best stages to work out a mediation or an amicable solution.
Yes, ma'am. So,
Another factor which brings is that once the emotions intensifies and the litigation progresses, the financial investments of the clients also increases because he's paying lawyers fees, he's paying hefty amounts to the lawyers. Then he wants that, let's fight, I want to recover that also. So, along with the emotion, the financial investments also increase, which intensifies the litigation. So, best is that initial stages, you try and mediate and settle out the dispute.
yes, ma'am. You are very correct in that matter because, ma'am, courts and the court work, they all include cost and the time of parties invest in that. Whereas mediation is very time effective, cost effective, and the relationships are intact. Whereas when we see in the court proceedings, the relationships are destroyed between the both the parties, and they
True.
use so much time and so much of money in that particular case, but the case stretches to 5 years, 6 years, and they don't get any solution. But mediation, whereas offers a great solution in time, in timely manner, and the cost is very friendly. So yes, in that case, parties have a very major role when they are in the beginning of the dispute. So, ma'am, do you
True.
think lawyers, especially in India today, are trained sufficiently in negotiation and conflict management, or is there still a gap in legal education?
See, if you talk about the legal education, there is certainly a gap. Your curriculums in the law school, your legal education today are extensively focused on traditional litigation skills only. They are not providing enough uh, they're not providing enough opportunities or trainings with respect to ADR mechanisms or conflict management or mediation skills. See, the entire focus till today is upon courtroom advocacy. If they ha- if you have heard, there have been many instances where Justice Suryakant, the current Chief Justice of Supreme Court of India, our current Chief Justice, has been focusing upon ADR mechanisms. He has very openly and candidly, he's a promoter of mediation and the ADR mechanisms. He has always openly said that ADR is the future, the conflict management is the future. See, if they've it is for the legal institutions to understand that the ones who are imparting legal education, that conflict management should also become an integral part of their curriculum as the courtroom advocacy skills are, because it is not that an advocate is competent only if he has good courtroom skills. It he or she would also be considered competent only when the advocate can resolve out the conflict effectively. Conflict management is an integral part of our legal system. So that is very important that today the law schools, the legal institutes, they make conflict management a part of their curriculum.
Yes, ma'am, you rightly said it, how today's legal education system does not focus on conflict resolution skills, ADR mechanisms, and even when Supreme Court is promoting mediation drives and mediation awareness, then today somewhere the education system is still lacking in involving those skills which a law student should have.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, as we know, technology has transformed the way we communicate. Has it made dispute resolution easier or has it created new challenges?
See, I have always believed in one sentence: technology has always revolutionized the institutions. But again, whether it's a boon or a bane depends upon its uses, how effectively it is being used. If you ask me as a lawyer, my personal experience is that yes, technology has transformed the way we communicate. It has been effective also in dispute management and dispute resolutions. I tell you today, I'll tell you a personal experience. There were COVID times going on, and there was a very crucial matrimonial dispute of mine. I was handling for a client, and my client was based out of India, though he was married. He was an Indian citizen, married in India, but settled abroad. His spouse was in India. We had to go through an amicable dispute settlement. At that time, the concept of hybrid had just come in Delhi courts. But our mediation center of Delhi High Court utilized that technology, and we had multiple hybrid mediations. It helped us resolve. We came up with a settlement deed, we drafted that together. We exchanged the deeds over our emails, etc. And it was effective. But at the same time, you see, technology, when misused, can create a lot of conflicts amongst parties also. So it depends upon its usage, that how effectively you are using it. I think, yes, if effectively used, technology has revolutionized the entire conflict management system and it has helped to strengthen it. So I'll say that.
Yes, ma'am, you correctly stated that the usage of technology depends on the person and how the person is utilizing it. Because technology has various uses and it can evolve a person and it can even devolve a person. So basically, the usage and the mindset of the person, it depends on. So, ma'am, you have worked across diverse areas of law. Are there certain types of disputes that are particularly well suited for mediation?
Yes, there are particular kind of disputes which are well settled for mediation, which are well suited for mediation, sorry. Like if you consider the case of matrimonial disputes, I have given you an example. Matrimonial dispute is essentially between two spouses. It is something which is within the four walls of the house. For me, as a litigator, as a matrimonial litigator, essentially, I have always been promotive of the fact that if your marriage is not working out, don't create a ruckus out of it. Don't malign each other. Don't intend to ruin each other's reputations by coming to the courts and making frivolous allegations. Rather, sit down with a mediator or a marriage counselor, try and make it work. And if your attempt to make it work fails, then just see that an amicable, on what terms and conditions you can have an amicable uh, divorce, which can be sorted as a divorce settlement. Similarly, if you see industries, there are disputes pertaining to a check bounce, the dispute pertaining to money recovery, the disputes, but the commercial disputes. Commercial disputes can you and I are into a commercial relationship. I as a I as a purchaser owe certain amount to you. I am not giving that amount back to you. Two of us can definitely sit together, match our respective accounts, and arrive at an amicable solution. Similarly, banking disputes can be resolved. Uh, uh, your company law disputes can be resolved by an amicable solution. IPR disputes can be resolved. So there are variety of laws which permit a dispute resolution by way of an amicable settlement.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
of course, like the crimes, the heinous crimes, they cannot be amicably sorted out.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, basically, the well-suited law or the disputes are matrimonial disputes to be settled through
I
mediation.
would say that matrimonial, commercial, employment related disputes. There's I and you have a conflict over our parking. We keep fighting daily. Police arrives. What would police do? Police would make two of us sit together. You are neighbors, sit down. You decide this A is my parking, B is your parking. Do a settlement. You go away.
Yes, ma'am. So
So
exactly
there
what.
are, yeah, the consumer related disputes. I didn't like your product. Your product didn't suit me. I intend sending up a legal notice to you. You say that, ma'am, please don't send us a legal notice. I and you would sit down together. Don't file a consumer claim against us. This will, malign our image in the market, affect our sales. You decide to fairly compensate me. We make a settlement deed. We resolve it. So every majority of the disputes can be resolved. Of course, again, heinous crimes cannot be resolved by an amicable solution, but these kind of disputes can definitely be.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, mediation stretches its area through wide areas of law, and many disputes can be resolved.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. I definitely agree with you. And ma'am, the disputes which are involving commercial disputes, especially when we see outside India, how Europe and Australia are handling commercial disputes, and the mediation centers there are working like fully in progress, and they're earning very much. And the status of mediation is in Australia, Europe is very different comparatively to the India. And that's why maybe the gap is coming between other countries and India, because we still need to work on the mediation awareness, because people instinctively still go to courts, because even if a dispute arises between two person, they say like, let's go to court. But
See, today the scenarios are changing. I don't completely agree with you. Yes, I agree to the extent that if I see a global perspective, yes, globally mediation is much more successful than India. But now Indian courts are also slowly and gradually recognizing that mediation is a very effective tool for for conflict resolution. If you see today, every month, every quarter, mediation drives are being run. Even Supreme Court of India is running it. Delhi High Court is running it. They decide the category of cases which can be referred to mediation. They refer you to mediation, and it's happening on a very effective rate now. If you'd ask me the success of mediation today, it's considerably improved over the years.
yes, ma'am.
They're training more and more people. Mediation training camps are being organized regularly.
You rightly answered the previous question. So, ma'am, for young law students aspiring to enter into litigation and dispute resolution, what mindset should they cultivate to become effective problem solvers?
See, the question is very, very interesting. If you ask me fairly, we all are students here. None of us is a perfectionist here. You know, I was once in a courtroom and a judicial officer, my lords, said to me that, ma'am, you know why legal practice is called as the term practice? Because we all learn something new here every day. Every day brings you a fresh challenge, a fresh perspective, a fresh learning. Hence, we all are students of law. And throughout the time you're litigating or you're into this profession, by being a mediator, by virtue of being a corporate counsel or an in house counsel or a judicial officer, by any means, or even as a law teacher, as a as a professor or as a law student, by any means you're attached to it, you're a student. So I would say, in order to, for the aspiring law students or the litigators or the persons who want to pursue this as a profession, the mindset should be that you must have curiosity inside you to learn something. At the same time, you must have a lot of empathy inside you to feel the emotions of the persons coming to you with their problems. You must have patience inside you. Patience is the most important key here. You must have a strategic thinking. Above all, you must have compassion inside your heart. More than winning a case, your idea should be, or your intent should be to bring a relief for your client. And that to an effective relief. Important is not that you win an argument. Important is not that you earn a hefty fee. Important is that a person who's coming in so much of trouble to you gets an effective resolution, gets an effective and an early solution to his problem. That's the real win of a lawyer. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. So you rightly stated that how patience, mindset, and the effective skill of providing solution to the clients. These skills are very important for a law student aspiring to enter into litigation world. So, ma'am, thank you so much for answering these questions as we
You're welcome.
to conclude this session. Thank you for sharing your valuable perspectives with us today. Your insights remind us that while law provides structure and courts provide remedies, lasting solutions often emerge through understanding, communication, and a willingness to engage constructively with one another. As future lawyers and citizens, we must remember that the true purpose of dispute resolution is not merely to determine who is right and who is wrong, but to create pathways towards peace, justice, and mutual understanding. On behalf of INADR, thank you once again for joining us. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in to Voices of Resolution. If you enjoyed this conversation, please like, share, and subscribe so that more people can learn about the importance of effective communication and peaceful dispute resolution.